Bring up now your schedule for your last match of the day. That is going to be Team Envy versus Red Reserve. Red Reserve, I believe, Pack 3-0'd them at Fort Worth.
Yeah, and then Rated said right before this match that they got the same maps that they got when they 3-0'd Envy. So he's confident going in, and he's no longer, at least he's recovering from his sickness that he had, that he was tweeting about. So he's feeling confident going into this series. But we already know that Envy can randomly turn up and be just a force to be reckoned with, so we don't know what's going to happen.
What Envy are we going to see, and what Red Reserve are we going to see? Both these teams, to me, are just wildly inconsistent, and, you know, it's pretty tough to, you know, tell which team you're going to get on any given day, because both of them can go toe-to-toe with the best in the world. And, you know, yesterday we really saw Hook on full form, you know, like just absolutely destroying. Right. He's guaranteed. What did Chance say about Gunless? He's guaranteed to win you a match.
We saw a lot out of Pat, too, though, yesterday, right?
Yeah, we did.
Pat was on top of the damage board. Will we see that Pat again? I don't know. He's probably not going to use the Rampart this series. he's on top.
Shouting at us, it's fine.
He's on the top for the first time since Ghost. Like, I don't know. It was a different Pat.
All right, well, another Pat. Let's talk about Hook. Look at these stats we've got in front of us right now. Of course, leading Envy in S&D KD at Fort Worth with 1.23. Not bad stats.
Just like, if you got this guy on your team, you should be winning a lot more than what Envy at least do when they do it now, because you got Hook the Nuke. Fat baby. This guy is unreal. Yesterday, I'm pretty sure he had a 40 bomb on that fourth map yesterday.
He was 42 and 20 at one point.
Unreal.
You really don't see that, but Aches did have 7.5k damage on that map, so it doesn't show on that little top codcaster, but he was going off on that map. So he did have, you know, a duo going off with him there. I think if Apathy, Silly, and Assault show up this series,
yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how good Hook is if you don't close, right? Yeah. And that's Envy's problem. They close, they can win more of these series. Period.
Well, and I mean, Envy has Hook, but then again, Red Reserve has Scraps, who's been consistently on fire for the most part.
Yeah, we know there's been sort of a little bit of turmoil on the side of Red Reserve, and you know, their win yesterday, it wasn't the most impressive win versus Accelerate. They did have to, you know, 3-2 them in a game 5, and you know, if you're Red Reserve, you look at that, you think we should probably be able to close this out a lot easier. And we know how that Bance interview went, how he is going 100% for them. But you got to think some of it's still lingering around on the side of things.
How could it not?
Over there. Yeah, absolutely, right? Like you think you're not playing, and then you're playing, and then you're losing, and you go to a game 5, and somehow miraculously come out with that win. These guys are chasing championships. They're not chasing mediocrity. So you got to think that that wasn't something they're proud of yesterday, that game 5 win.
Yeah, I mean, you can put on a bravado, you can put on a smile, you know, say something like an interview with Jess, it is what it is. But to Nameless's point, I mean, I've not met someone who could put that kind of emotional turmoil aside.
Well, that's what makes us professionals. You got to be able to put it all behind you, plain and simple. You got to be able to come in here and just do what you need to do, because this is definitely what you want to be. He definitely wants to be in Red Reserve, playing next to his friends, hopefully winning a championship, pushing series to game 5s, and winning series, doing whatever. Just hopefully he's able to put, like I said, his emotions behind him and just look forward and just realize, like, I had this opportunity, I got to take advantage.
He's got to lay it all out there. Like, this is, he's got a couple more matches.
That's fair, yeah.
3 more matches, like, that's it. It could be it for him. So he's got to lay it all out there. And, you know, realistically, is there another team Vance gets on if he gets dropped from this team? Like, possibly, but not a team.
Probably not right away, at least.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
definitely not right away. He could get to a team, but not right away. So
I would look out for Vance in this series. Like, he's going to have some performances going forward. And what did Rated say? They're going on 4 or 4-0. Yeah, on their way to 4-0.
Well, we will see. Again, that is going to be potentially a do or die for Bance. What can we pull out for Red Reserve? That is going to be our last match of the day of Cross Division. Again, Luminosity taking Accelerate map 5, but winning there 3-2, managing to pull that out. But coming up, we have Red Reserve versus Team Envy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty World League. Team Envious versus Red Reserve, final game of the evening. And what a game this one may be for Red Reserve. Chance, myself, and you casted their game yesterday. It was an interesting one because really the big hot topic was, well, Vance announced his free agency after Fort Worth, and we're thinking, oh, well, are we even going to see him here?
We got picked up on a pretty good team, though.
He did. A very, very good team. And it seems that team actually has some pretty good chemistry. They get a reverse sweep yesterday. A big Game 5 victory for them. On the flip side, though, Team Envious, this is a squad which, at the start of Fort Worth, we kind of watched and we're like, oh my God. Like, when we casted Envy versus Up to Game, we were thinking, all right, is this Envy's tournament? How far can they go? But it seems just inconsistent with Team Envious every time we watch them.
Hyper inconsistent. Like, it's just wild. Probably the most difficult team to predict that we have in the league, because
you never know.
They will literally go from the best team in the game to like, I don't know what they're doing. They look awful. Like from series to series, not even like from day to day necessarily. So that's the kind of question. I have no idea what to expect. Like, I think if most people were to guess, they'd say Red Reserve are not going to be as good because of the chemistry issues they're having. I don't know if that's true. I think you could just as easily say that it's going to light the fire. Vance is going to kick it up a notch because he has a lot more to play for. Definitely. And everyone on the team now wants to play better, and that lights the fire. And the same thing vaguely can be said about Envy, is like they know they need to kick it up. You definitely have players on this team that are thinking like, I might get dropped if I don't start playing better. Right. So everyone has a ton to play for. And I think these are the exact same first three maps we had last time they played and Red Reserve got the 3-0. I'm fairly positive it was Gridlock for 2 and 3, and I'm pretty sure it was Hacienda for game number 1. So we get a run back.
Well, the series does go further. Frequency Hardpoint and a Hacienda Search and Destroy game 5. But you bring up a fantastic point. For Red Reserve, we know the roster drama. We know that was a thing. On Team Envious, it's almost exactly the same thing. Team ripe with inconsistencies, and we're just not sure if that's going to be the same squad you'll see come London. But earlier on social media, we were asking you guys at home what you think about this upcoming series and who you think is going to go ahead and take it. And here are some of your answers. Envy will carry the momentum from yesterday's win and take the series 3-1. Just need Cillian to go off. Just a small task.
It's expected for Hoop to go off. You don't even have to throw him in there. Of course, Zombies, who tweets us all the time, by the way, the super fan, thinks Red Reserve will win, beat Envy 3-0, just like they did a week and a half ago at Fort Worth. And again, I think it's the exact same maps at Wells, so they did it once, why can't they do it again?
Zombies, you're a smart man. Envy, because of these 3 words. Hook the nuke. It's a pretty good prediction.
And the most important part of that was the. Of those 3 words, the, hyper important. We have a caster named The, so we get everything that's just incredibly important. But I think, I mentioned this for Gunless. I think it was Nameless that tweeted it out. Hook will win you 1 map per series. Just like almost by himself, seemingly so. He will get you 1 map win, but of course, Scraps can do the exact same thing. So it could be a barn burner.
Very well could be. What you're going to get on the day. But we have more of what we've seen already between these two. Going in for maybe a bit of a closer series. 2 Game 5s throughout today. 1 3-0, of course. And that was exactly the same as yesterday. Was it not, Chance? I think that was what we were talking about. It's either 3-0s or Game 5s.
Every single time. I think we're at 5 Game 5s now, 2 3-0s, something like that. Whatever it is, you already know no one's going to win 3-1. So if we go to a hard point, and what is it? And the team's down 2-1. Yeah, if we go to that 4th hard point, yeah, 100% going to see that Game 5.
Game 1, loading up, as we mentioned. Hacienda hard point, and we are underway. Scraps had a relatively decent performance yesterday. He was joined by Bance. As leading the charge. Rated didn't feel too well. Said he felt a little under the weather. Hopefully he feels better today. Definitely showed in the first few maps, but managed to clutch up a few times in that final Game 5. But for Red, already, kill feed has been pretty much Red the entire time. Only Hook able to find 1 kill so far.
And this is at least 4 ICRs that got pulled out straight off the rip, and Joe honestly might have had 1 as well. So you think the idea is there. You want to get top hallway control. The ICR is the gun for the job, and Red Reserve making it work so far. Scraps, though, picks up a SOG that does not have ammo. He's going to die as a response, and Assault actually 2 nice kills to get the player from Red Reserve out of the hill.
That's worth mentioning, despite the big kill difference there, the advantage Red Reserve have. It doesn't really translate in terms of points for the first hill. 18-7 the lead with 6 seconds left, and of course the rotation now, the key thing to pay attention to. You have Assault playing deep, right at the back. Paradox has highlighted that minimap number 3. while Silly watching over towards Rock. Mance is going to fly straight out. Easy win for him. And again, Assault's still alive, blocking the spawns for Red Reserve. They're going to be spawning over towards Well, but they do have hill control.
So, I mean, Assault, I think, essentially just gave information like, hey, I'm watching the flank, but they've all gotten through that side door, so it is Red Reserve that is eventually able to break through, and as they break through, might as well jump into an Astro Gaming listen.
Side. Still in close right.
Right, got me,
One on the week. Yeah. Straight side. Whoever dies next, rotate.
Yeah, fight this.
Looking close right. Two show weak. I'll give you slide. Close right, Matt. He's gone to rotate. Nice. Someone hit mid to connect up.
Yeah, I'll do it.
They're already going to be in there.
One was top mid. It was assault.
Okay, watch me.
Going to be all over the back. I'm weak. Connector.
Pop,
One connector flat. Two connector.
One on hill.
Hold the fence.
Hold fences.
Let's go back there.
Two connector.
I'm going to connect you, good fences.
I got one.
I'm supposed to but they pushed you on. Nice.
Let's go One's round the back.
Connect.
Absolute Reese. Nice Reese. Hold this. Connect on me.
Connect.
Right side. Yeah, he's native fence. X on point, one shot. X one shot point. Push me close. I'll go your left.
Top point, wick.
Yo, connect.
Can you slide to left? Contest or no?
Office.
I'm office, absolute hook. Right side, bottom office. You get on the left, Eddie. I'm probably dead. To the left. Who might go connect? I'll go your left, Ray.
One shot, nice. Charlie now.
One shot. I'm with you, Joe. Dead. I'm 1 off streaks. I'm 120 off streaks.
Pass.
I'm 120 off streaks. Try to let me tag him off. Plat, one shot. He's challenging you, Reese. Hold. You, one shot. Maybe one more to your left. I spawn back.
Two on me.
I'm 1 off streaks. Someone come to your hill and beat me. Wait.
I'll come around.
Hallway, Joe.
Yeah, go.
What a week.
Go back away.
Oh, so what?
No, rock away. Huki.
That's ideal.
Huki's
on you, let's go.
Grappled over.
One. They're floating. Go. I've got ammo. Middle of the hill. Two top right. I've got lightning. Hold there. Slow it out. Connector. Lightning. One lambo. You saw him. Nice. I got lightning.
Rated gets the lightning strike, and Red Reserve once again get the lead. 82-74. 30 seconds left on the final hill of our first rotations. And it was Bance really with a very, very slow start. It was 1 and 6 to kick things off. Now 7 and 8, just turning things around. But MB to their credit, keeping it close.
Well, of course, you got to imagine Raider with the at least extra lightning strike might be able to do some damage and some future hills as well. And Red Reserve, honestly, if anything, they seem like the team that's the master of the crouch shot. So many players, I think, Bance and Scraps, by the way, does it the most. Every time he's in a gunfight, just crouches up and down, just trying to force the other guy to just miss a bullet. Just miss a bullet instead of the strafe. I'm going to drop a little bit lower, and if you give him an extra bullet, that's all he needs. Of course, the TAC-5 going to help as well for a couple players to get a kill, including Joe, who gets away as Red Reserve have control of this middle hill.
Still 40 seconds left on it. As battle for corridor control continues. Red Reserve will win that fight. Rated left to milk the hill time. Teammates still doing a good job of picking up the kills elsewhere. It's Team Envy that really had the better rotation towards the second hill in the first rotation of hills. Keep your eye on that minimap where the arrows are spawning. As it stands, it is Red Reserve spawning in. Mance has already made the decision that he wants to rotate over towards a new hill. 15 seconds left, and Red recognize, hey, we are still spawning in. We should be okay. A little bit of pressure now coming through over from Rock side. Scraps may need to try and trade out a couple of these kills.
A lot of players in water, though, and water control is a great way to break in, if not just get 3 bodies in the hill. No gunfights go the way of Red, and, well, Envy going to be able to try to hold this from the front if possible. Of course, the flank is actually coming in. Silly reads the first one, reads the second one as well. The awareness coming up clutch, and Silly just give them all 3. Scraps with the War Machine, trying to do some damage, but you can already see Flak Jacket's on. Puke there for some kills. And again, holding from the front, Envy right back in this game. Silly's got a couple more kills in front of him. Player slides past, and he's just killing all the dead bodies, and that's an example of communication, but Red Reserve right back through.
Lightning strike invested on this hill from Rated, but it's all Hook the Nuke right now. Picking up important gunfights, and there's 3. This seems like a good time to go to Astro Gaming. Listen in with Team Envious.
3 dot.
Go top plant.
Back man said, Alright,
we're good. Just get a full 60 here. I spawned fence.
Well, Joe dead.
I think a guy's sitting close. I think a guy's sitting close right now. He could go plant.
Back, guys. I have
He is close. He's weak close.
No one wall me.
Up close. Scraps. Nice trade.
Back me, two back me.
Yeah.
Can someone get hill so I can help?
Back.
Yeah, get the back, Brian.
Two back. No, but Depot, he's on well.
You have the back. Someone has
I have a stun, I have a stun.
I
stun well, I stun well.
Back.
I'm stunned,
Half fountain.
Two fence.
Hold plat.
Sunny plat.
Getting wall. I got wall bangs. He's F2. Flat. Weak. One might be in the back, Brian.
I got one more F2.
Zombie cut.
Push F1 corner.
Hey, give me the back.
No, it's fine.
We're good. One guy's gonna be 10 probably. I'll be at 10.
Another shout out.
Go in.
Need the back.
On the head, he's weak.
F2 rated dead.
They're weak.
Held dead. Another one close, heady.
Yes.
Chance.
One more F2.
Close. I got reload.
That's two.
I got heal.
One shot for you. Nice.
15 seconds left of that hill, and scrap time goes in favor of Team Envious. 171, so about 153 will be the score as we rotate over towards the final hill of our second rotations. And Hook is somewhat close to streaks, and he just flies straight in. No respect given. There's two. 150 now, all away from the lightning strike.
Now he's got the reinforcements as well. He can bait out his teammates left and right. And honestly, he's a player that might not need it. The Tempest, though, if it chains, is not going to be fun. But there's kill number one. Just stay alive for a little bit more, which he's able to. Should be good for one. Gets the lightning. There's the Hellstorm. And, of course, Assault. You got the Tempest on Tempest action. And he's the one coming out on top as Envy take the lead for the first time in, well, pretty much the entire game.
Now Hook has license to be a little more aggressive over towards corridors. Of course, his teammate with the Tempest managed to earn his streak, so he could afford to be a little more aggressive. Vision Pulse available for Silly to use. On the flip side, of course, Rated already using his, so this could be a very interesting closing moment to the game, because you expect to see Hook at least get another grab slam. Well, definitely will get another grab slam. He's invested the Hellstorm missile, and as we rotate into our final few hills, it's going to be Red Reserve 194, Team Envy 182, an advantage Red Reserve early on.
Red Reserve on this middle hill, they have always had this top hallway control, and Rated trying to give it a crack as to why, but he gets taken down. And Joe, of course, feels the pressure, just leaves the hill. Just wants to make sure he can stay alive because he's got to wait for the wave of teammates to come back in. Gets the TAC 5 as well, cleaned up, but they'll at least have it for next. But, of course, Huke, even if they have TAC 5, that grab slam just going to tear straight through.
And the big woe here for Red Reserve is that second hill. They haven't been able to control it throughout the first couple of rotations that we've seen. Really has been all Team Envious as now Assault drops down. There's a freebie for him. Red Reserve trying to hold the spawns, but it was Zero basically by himself. Envy flood, and with 15 seconds left, Envy have the rotation, and Vision Pulse has been used by Silly.
And so Red Reserve, I think, are just going to sit this one out. They're going to say, use that so early. Screw it. We'll sit inside the hill, wait for the Vision Pulse to be gone, give up 5 seconds of time before we start the aggression. And, of course, when they make this move, Huke's one of the guys to watch, because if he needs to, he's got the grab slam, and, well, he's able to find two. Don't even know where they were, but he'll take it. His teammates are going to be there as well. Assault inside the hill, so use the Vision Pulse, use the grab, get all the kills as well. And they should be good, but even with all those kills, a little bit slow off the respawn, and now they're coming back through, and you can see exactly why, because Huke had the lightning.
Yeah, Huke forced to use that, and uses it well. 2 kills to his name, 227, 212. Envy trailing, but Envy in the hill. Still 30 seconds left on Lambo. As Red Reserve trying to force their way through the front door, and it just isn't going to work, or is it? Right, then Scraps with the pinch, with the collapse, and for Red, they can't win it here, so you will see at least one more rotation. It's going to be Bance over there, ready and waiting over towards Connector, but 2 players, remember, you've already snuck through. Joe isn't going to realize it, so this is a very interesting situation. Assault and Hook, they're the players, remember, that have got through. Joe sniffs out Assault. Hook is still alive. As the challenges come through, Hook is dealt with. Red Reserve need one more point, and that is all she wrote from game 1.
Very good game for them to get. It seemed like the AR control was there for quite some time. Even off the opening break, you got an example of it. And even with Huke getting streaks and using them very well, and the grab slams fairly well, Red Reserve just increasing that lead time and time again. And last time we saw these teams play, it was a 3-0 for Red.
Yep.
They're on a good pace right now.
They are indeed. It was a close map one, though. Credit to Team Envious for trying to keep it as close as they could. Hook at the very end, he was the one that was making those plays, and it's funny because you brought up before, Hook is one of those players that can win you a map, and I was starting to think, is this that map? Is this really where he comes in full effect? The double with the grab slam, the double with the lightning strike, the double to even open the hill in the first place. He was trying to do it all on Lambeau Hill, but just not enough chance.
And it is a little bit funny that at the same time I say Hugh can always win you at least one map. The last time they played, well, they didn't win a map, so maybe not the best timing to bring up that little Hook fun fact about how dominant he can be. But of course, on the flip side, some players that were amazing were guys like Zero. Yep. Of course, we have Jess that talked to him with the PlayStation Instant Reaction.
Thank you, Chance. And yeah, when I walked up to talk to Zero, I think I would describe the mood of the team as somber. You know, we all know the situation, and Zero kind of spoke to that a little bit, saying, you know, everyone's here to do a job. It's just business. He said, you know, regardless of who stays or who goes, at the end of the day, it's, you know, it's business. We're doing a job here. And ideally, we're just trying to go 4-0 and then kind of see what happens next. Now, over on the side of Envy, I did catch up with Silly, and he had some big predictions for the series. He said, well, we got 3-0'd by Red Reserve at Fort Worth, but you know what, we're looking to turn around. I think we can 3-0 them right back. We are playing on the same maps as we were playing them at Fort Worth, and we can definitely, you know, turn it around, hopefully take our revenge, get that 3-0 again. So obviously that ship has sailed, but we'll see how the rest of the series shakes out. So Ben and Chance, back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Jess. And of course, you hear there confirming the same maps that they'd already played, and Envy looking for a little bit of revenge. Map 1 didn't go their way.
No, absolutely not. Of course, we can take a second look on exactly what happened. And the question is, where do we watch it from? It's right after Hugh gets the double kill. And of course, it seemed like Envy was slow on the retake, but then they have, what, Assault picking up 3 kills. And this is where it seems slow. Then the lightning strike comes in, and it's, oh, baby, we got the clearance on it. And even then, I don't even know where the setup faltered, because Red Reserve eventually does break back through. Zero gets taken down as he's trying to flank, so you should know all the pressure is going to be coming in the front, but I guess they just got taken down one by one, and then Red Reserve does it in just enough time to give themselves a massive lead.
Yeah, Joe does well to find the entry, but it was Rated and Scraps that hit the pinch, and with 20 seconds left at this point, keep your eye on the minimap, because you already see the rotation coming through for Team Envy. It's Assault and Hook. And they put themselves in such a good position that you're thinking, all right, well, there's no way Envy lose this rotation. But they just don't find the gunfights. They push too far. They don't check connector, and it kind of bites them in the butt because neither Assault or Hook find kills after such an early rotation, and Red close it out here.
And then Envy, even at the end, played it really slow. Like, Apathy at the end was hanging out at well, but they kind of had those 2 players connector in between, like a pre-made pinch for them. And Apathy just waited. He was expecting to just get the information, but then his teammates start losing gunfights. Then he's getting 2 players to shoot him in the back, so the early setup just gets obliterated. And, well, they were in a tough spot anyway, but Rated had a very nice game.
Yeah, and it's funny because you saw there on that kind of breakdown of hard points, we mentioned, you know, Red Reserve, their corridor control and their first hill control. It showed they're a big swing in points. But up next, we're heading over to Search and Destroy. Gridlock. Again, similar maps to what we've seen these 2 teams play last time. It was a 3-0 in favor of Red. They're 1-0 up here. See if they go 2-0 up.
It was around 11 on Gridlock, though. So, like, a 3-0 obviously is one of those things that it doesn't tell the whole story. It was incredibly close. In Envy, of course, you have to imagine a team that, well, obviously wants to fix those mistakes.
One thing I'm happy to see is Zero with a sniper rifle out on Gridlock. Of course, he almost clutched a 1v4 yesterday. He got the kills, just didn't have time for the defuse, and sadly for him, he will fall. I was expecting to see maybe if Aix was going to try and counter-snipe, but no sniper for him. Instead of First Blood and a bomb plant.
Somehow Zero found himself on the wrong side of that window where there's Zero cover, and, well, Apathy finds himself just dead to Joe. Joe just the wild man, but Hook eventually able to shut him down to make an eventual 2v1 because Aix picks up 1. And, well, just like that, the 1v1, Hook versus Scraps.
Hook heard him, and Hook will find the kill.
Played it perfect.
1-0 Envy. Very quick round, but to your point, Zero with not the greatest positioning in the world with a sniper rifle. A little unfortunate. Basically gave a free kill and a free opening to Team Envious. And Scraps, of course, tries his best. Clutch up, so I think a 1v3, which all of a sudden very quickly was a 1v2. Made it the 1v1, just couldn't find Hook. And now the boys in blue with the advantage.
Already, though, Search and Destroy, much different from the last series we casted, where it was actually close and competitive and trades happened instead of just both teams running each other over. But see a little bit of that potential sniper-on-sniper action. But it's Hook by himself. I think he saw 2, if not all 3, cross. And even if it was just 2, he knows all the pressure is there. The question is, how do they go for the retake? Apathy thinking about maybe the pinch. or they all go from the same side. And I think it's Aches trying to get a sniper pick. No, he switched away. Okay.
Yep. He was very quick in changing that as soon as he recognized there was no pressure. As Book with the nade special. We'll find first blood. 3-3. Make that a 3 versus 2. That's rated full. Joe hits the flank, and well, it's all down to apathy. He has made it a 1v1 to his credit. Well, he's going up against Joe, and with 20 seconds left, Joe with a jiggle peek spots App and recognizes I just have to try and play the back of the map, force App to run to me. App does challenge, and Joe wins the fight anyway. Red tie things up.
Oh, and that's a brutal round for Envy. Because, like, did everything right, got the information, slid out, and it looked like he had the gunfight in his bag, and then Joe, squirrely as ever, just lets him know. That's a nice bounce-back round coming in from Red Reserve.
Joe played it perfectly anyway. Just escaping playing his life. The kill, it was just a cherry on the top. I don't really think there was not much time left. Would have been about 11 seconds, maybe, for App.
I think he would have had it. I think Apathy would have had it. It would have been close, though.
Well, Joe just too clutch. Wins the 1v1 and, of course, makes it 1-1 in terms of the round score. And be back on attack. Aches will have a sniper rifle out, so Zero with a chance to try and counter-snipe here. Unsuccessful round 1. And gets away with his life. It's funny, I joke with Aches pretty often about having the most hit markers in the league. Well, there's another one he can chalk up.
And he's just looking down the back alley. That happens all the time when a sniper backs up. They just look for the back alley, so Aches doesn't spot him up top. But either way, Assault able to get the first blood. If no hit markers come in, and Rated thinking about peeking. And, well, he does, but not for long, because he's going to fall silly up top. Make sure to get to the trade, and all of a sudden, Zero's by himself. And, well, we've seen him kill 4 players in a 1v4, but he didn't win the round the last time it happened, and he's not going to do it this time either with the double challenge coming in.
Yeah, and he finds one. And I've told Aches several times, just aim higher. And
it helps.
You see what happens there. You just get the headshot, and the player dies. You don't have to worry about it. Envy with a nice round 3. That's their second round win here in the game 2. And the best play comes for Silly as he drops down, just hunting down Zero teammate in support. Zero realistically not with much chance of clutching up there. But as Red go back onto their attacking side, it was a very quick shower push in their first attack. Might be more of the same, or they want to maybe trust in Zero's sniping abilities.
I think last time around, Hook spotted for information over towards A, but this time the bombs won't creep in the other direction, but it is not coming very quickly because Red Reserve is sending 3 through mid-map. I think that's Rated with the bomb, got the information. Zero does not hit the shot, and those players mid-map have gotten through, but his teammate's going to fall. Joe not there for the trade. Silly with the beatdown. Scraps can find 1, but the damage has been done, and, well, now it's a 3v4 for Red.
You mentioned it yesterday, but players jumping up into window against player framing.
Always.
It's absurd how frequent it is that the player jumping up actually wins that fight. But all of a sudden, it's turned into a 3v3. Rated will be spotted. Zero. Paladin and Strife combination misses the snipe. Hasn't found much success early on here yet. And Scraps will be able to assist this round at least somewhat. Oh, go for the trick shot. Go for the Will Star. Player escapes. Scraps still just hanging down ice cream. That's 2 for him. And Bomb making its way over towards A here. Assault may spot the rotation out, and that's a big win because that was the player with the bomb. And you don't really have too much time. But that's fine because you still have Scraps alive.
Scraps calls out, hey guys, I got ice cream, and 45 seconds later, remains true. He had ice cream that entire time, makes some nice kills, and that's a nice little 3v4 clutch from Red Reserve as well. And those are always the best rounds that you could get. Because then, you know, if you get the first bloods, hey, if we're running without the man advantage, we can do it here. Of course, those are 2 very nice 1v1 gunfights that Envy tried to win. Obviously, now they're successful.
Tried being the key word. Scraps ready and waiting for the push. 2-2, though. Back and forth search. I mean, all the rounds really being pretty close. Aches with a sniper rifle. He's patrolling top middle. He's not going to see anything. Zero, the sniping counterpart for Red Reserve. Looks down B Street, no information whatsoever, but it's going to be the mid-push that comes through, and it is sniffed out, but Zero not able to find the pick. Envy been very aggressive through mid. They have a ton of control. Zero forced to back away once again. Envy with so much control now over B. The collapse has to come through, but the gunfights need to be won, and they're just simply not by Red. Somehow Envy walk away with a man advantage. Bomb is being planted, and, well, Scraps wanted to check, but just couldn't. He falls. Zero missing a shot back alley. It's a 5v3 in favor of Envy. And, well, Hook hits a flank. There's a double for him. Zero, last man up. 1v5. Just never going to happen.
Well, there's the first two. Of course, he's got 3 players coming in the back, but you hit a quick shot and maybe get another. He has information, just not a lot of time. Wins another one, knows he needs to world star somebody, and well, yeah, there's just simply not enough time, and he wants to find his way off the map. Which I think you can get off the map back there if you have a grapple. But I think otherwise you're just kind of stuck. Oh, it doesn't have ammo in the strider.
That's why. Yeah, that's why he stopped. Yeah, he was like, I could have done it if I had my ammo and my pistol. But he ran out, so he's going to have to play his life. Not that he wants to, but he's going to be forced to. Now, it'd be interesting to see, being 525 points away from streaks, whether that decision could come back and actually be a good one.
And as good as the kills were at the end, I think the round, honestly, is kind of on Zero's shoulders. Because, like, Joe was by himself near the bomb. Zero knows pressure's coming in from mid because Scraps is watching it. And then he just kind of gives up top. Like, he doesn't force the gunfight. And granted, if he forces the gunfight, it's not a fun gunfight to take. He might lose it anyway. But as soon as that player gets to top window, Joe's getting pinched from everywhere. And there's nothing Joe can do in that situation. Like, even if he gets the kill on Apple, it would have been a miracle for him to do it, but he's instantly going to get traded. So, I don't know. Maybe not the best strat coming out from Red Reserve. Maybe a little more pressure necessary. But if you can find some picks early, might be useful for you. But Assault's going to get the pick himself. Silly wants to try again, and well, he will try again in round 7.
Maybe it was a blessing in disguise. We'll see. Too early to say just yet. But 400 away from streaks. Joe needs to trade that. Not able to do so. So Envy again walk away with the man advantage, which is nullified instantly by Scraps. He wanted none of that. Of course, Red are on the attacking side. They've wrapped over towards A. Problem is, it's a 3v3. Zero is still with a sniper rifle. They have taken control of A, though. And bomb is being planted.
So if Envy just group up here and push from the same place, I'm assuming Red Reserve, you only have to watch 2 directions, but someone has to be split. It looks like split number guy 6, but they're playing fairly close. Envy all from one side. They are coming in. Zero's getting the call-outs. They know they're here. He's responsible for towels. Gets the first one. Second right in front. The trade is here. Trades back and forth. Scraps is there. 2v1. And it all comes down to XP Scraps, and Scraps is able to come out on top. The setup, honestly, from Red Reserve is what gave him the opportunity. Even the guy that's watching the flank is playing so close to his teammates that just turn on a swivel.
Very, very easy to adjust. Envy, the right idea, just couldn't execute it quick enough. Aix makes it a 1v1, and that moment there is where you get a little worried, but I think Aix actually runs out of ammo. So Scraps with a free kill and ties things up. 3-3. Of course, in the last series they played, it was a red 3-0, but you made the point. The search on this map went to around 11. So far, it's looking as if that could be the same here, Chance.
And you also got Envy pulling a handful of different strats out of the bag, and well, you can see why, because you got all the nades, which players go to a lot of the same spots, and you got a gravity slam if you need it. Hook electing to put it away and try again. Scraps, by the way, War Machine coming out. Who has flak? Hook does. Apathy might have just gotten hit a couple extra times, but Bomb is down 4v4. Trophy in the back is only there for protection, but Scraps is going to fall by Silly.
And nice peek from Silly, recognizing he had a little bit of a chance to go for it. Joe's going to challenge, wins a gunfight that really shouldn't have done. 2v2, 25 seconds. Attack 5 is invested, and both players fall instantly.
That's War Machine down. War Machine down for the round loss. Envy just finding a way and just getting all those kills at the end. The untradeable round, seemingly from Envy, at least at the latter half of it. And well, obviously, Hook's a big reason why. Wins the first gunfight, then the second guy, Zero, just has too many players to work with. And the difference a bullet can make in a round of Search and Destroy.
Advantage, Envy. Once again. All right, be able to bounce back. Of course, the Attack 5 invested. War Machine invested. On the flip side, you still have a fair amount of utility. Assault has his tempers. Hook with a Grav Slam. Aix getting close to the War Machine, up close to the Attack 5, and Silly very close to the Vision Pulse as well, so I expect to see that a round that Envy's going to win. Well, we'll wait and see. Aix looking for first blood with the sniper.
Dancing with the Devil. Zero knows where to look for Aix, but can't quite find him. The angle Zero has, by the way, it's so difficult to get this kill. You can basically only see his feet, so not an easy shot to hit, but that bomb, by the way, over towards A. Hook, they're waiting for him. Able to find two. Silly gets the next in. Well, Rated has an ICR, but Hook doesn't miss. Zero now by himself for the 1v5. Envy, I think he can do it.
No.
And he can't.
He will fall. Envy put himself now map point. 1 round away from tying up this series. Some good adjustments made out of Team Envious, and of course Hook there with the graph slam. Pays dividends, gets himself a double. Zero did just earn his though. So potential for Red to win a round at least to try and make this comeback.
All good comebacks mean you have to be losing to make them happen. Of course, Envy just trying to avoid that 3-0, but if we saw around 11 once, we might see so again. Of course, on offense, Envy has pulled a ton of different strats out of the bag. They have given a lot of different looks over towards B, towards A. A couple players going through mid-map at times. Ake's not able to connect with the first player, and this time Joe, instead of getting left alone at the B site, is just going to back straight out into that back alley. But Envy, no one's pushing that way. They're grabbing this bomb, waiting for someone to make a mistake. And Zero, by the way, by himself. He hears attack 5, knows they're here, only able to find one, and he does get traded out.
And Envy was waiting for Silly to get his vision pulse, and well, he's earned it now. Are they going to invest it? Because it is a 4 versus 4. Hook 75 away from streaks. Not that it's going to matter too much. Silly, of course, has the bomb. There's the vision pulse investment, and this, realistically, should be the round. Be very surprised if it wasn't. 8 strings into life. There's 2, there's 3. Paddy P, all 4 for him. And Envy put an exclamation mark on the round. All tied up, Chance. 1-1.
Got a different series on our hands. Paddy P getting the quads with the wall hacks helping him out just a little bit, but very nice bounce back round and headed into control. I think just as the game 2 last time was around 11, the control went to round 5 and it came down to the wire, so we expect it to be as competitive as ever.
Oh, great series so far. Of course, the final series of the day. We're excited to have our cross-divisional games, and so far they're not really letting us down as Hook takes a moment to relax, lean back. Of course, he's been in a little bit of hard carry mode so far, but in terms of our play of the game, it has to be this man right here, Aches, at the very end. The help of the vision pulse doesn't matter, though. Still all 4 that your Scuff Gaming play the game, and gets the veteran back on his feet, Chance.
Operator Perry just shed a single tear, just as Aches is living up to the name that he made for himself.
Well, a nice way to close out the search and destroy for a Red Reserve. Now they're going to be thinking about game 3. As you mentioned, very close the last time these two guys, or 2 teams, played against each other. The overall score, not that close. It was 3-0 for Red, but the maps were very close. And we're getting a little bit of a glimpse into that, but we'll be back after this with that Game 3 control.
As it stands, Red Reserve Team Envious 1-1. No 3-0s for us today, Chance. And, well, if the Pro League so far is anything to go by, we're probably going to a Game 5. So we could just skip the following procedure, just go straight to that 5th game if you want.
I mean, you know, players need to get their stats online. And Ace has got to pick up a couple more quads if he can find them. So we still need to take care of and do our due diligence. But, yes, we are going to a Game 5 eventually.
Yes, more than likely. Of course, same maps in the first series that we saw these two teams play. MV may have got 3-0'd, but they're more than happy to run it back, and well, that's exactly why. Game 1 was a close one, 250-222. Red were able to edge it out. Game 2, not really that close. Some of the rounds back and forth, but Envy pulled out to a lead and never really let it go. A 6-3 victory, but now the gridlock control, which last time, Chance, when these two teams played, it did go to that 5th round.
Well, and I think if either team has been watching like some of these matches in the Pro League, both of them should take a note from LG's playbook and just win rounds on defense by spawn killing endlessly, getting the full setup, and then winning by like 25 lives. Like, that's all you need to do.
Simple.
And so
right?
Just write it down, take notes, and
spawn trap, get a 20 kill life advantage, close that out. Okay.
Just like LG.
Yeah, I'm sure the coaches have written that down already. Just whether you can execute it quite as well as LG did, because that was a bloodbath. It really was. Fantastic to watch, though. I'll give them that. Can they do it again? Or will we see something similar in this match? Red Team MB 1-1, heading into that Game 3 control on Gridlock. And it was Red that took it last time. Yeah, of course it was a 3-0, but it was, as we mentioned before, that round 5. So hopefully more of the same here, Chance, and another close map for the series.
Of course, we can always just see who makes the big plays off the rip, though. Red Reserve, everyone's going over towards A, which you cap the zone pretty quickly when you got a bunch of bodies stacked inside. You do have to win the entry gunfights, and 2 players for Envy are actually getting sent on the flank. Raider, though, finds the first. He's looking for the second as well, so his job is, well, potentially going to be done, and Zero's there for the help. Now you get 2 ticks on A, and Envy might as well chalk this one up. Got a couple players, excuse me, looking for a little bit of map pressure, maybe find some kills. And, well, they find none. Red Reserve storms on through.
Oh, this is very bad. As soon as you die over towards Dojo, over towards the back towels area, you give the team capping a license to push through, and that's exactly what you've seen. Now the following gunfights are so important for Team Envious. There's a 5-life disadvantage for the boys in blue. 27-21 now. It goes to 6. Red Reserve, a great start for them. But can they give a product to the good start? Can they manage to get a tick over towards B? Of course, A already capped. 2 minutes on the clock. But Envy survive over the flurry of kills.
Yeah, Rated, of course, playing for information with the sensor dart to see where they're coming from. But, well, they're coming from above you. They're coming from below, and Hook is able to just shred through and take down 2, and Silly's right there with them. Red Reserve has a player in post, but honestly, he's by himself. He's got to wait for some help with teammates, but they're actually going to sniff him out. If you don't know, if you haven't killed Joe in about 10 seconds, he's behind you somewhere. Go find him.
That does just that. Working towards some streaks of his own. 200 points is what is needed. A 5-2 start for him. Bear in mind, all of this has gone on, and Aches is still yet to find a kill. 0-6. Best start for the vet. It doesn't matter when you have Hook running around, picking up kills left and right. No streaks for him, though, and this could be an opportunity now for Red Reserve to try and push through. That's 4 dead. B-zone fully controlled, and this is bad news for Team Envy.
You got Joe in post, 0 inside of 18. Where do you try to hit from? You got to come from everywhere, and if Joe's picking up 2 pieces like that, there's maybe nowhere you can come from, and stays alive for a little bit. 18 control is now in the hands of Bance. He's got Rated there with him, the double ICR. 2 ticks are in, they're getting pretty close, and honestly, it's just an 11v5. Make it 4 as the team kill comes through, so simply nothing Envy can do. First round, the way of Red Reserve.
Yeah, the damage was done as soon as they got that first 5 down. Joe picks up the double kill. The life count just spiraled out of control and never really looked back. There's a decent attempt from Envy, but again, that slow start from Aches, really not helpful. And here is that play again from Joe. There's 2, hops into post, and then wins another 2. Quick gunfights. Second, a miraculous one. Almost turned on the final player, but was just unable to do so. Either way, great play from him.
And he got taken down, though, right?
Yes.
To stop the streaks. Okay, I was thinking if that many kills happen in the best play, I think he might have gotten one before he got to post. He might be working on something, but he got shut down, so maybe nothing cooking there. Yeah, back at 850, but either way, Envy, all 5 players over towards A. Red Reserve right now have 3 bodies near the hill, and, well, Lakes is going to find 2 of them, and that last guy just needs to run away and cry for dear life.
Yeah. Guys, I need help. Please? Envy's in the hill. They've already capped 2 ticks. Well, you may as well make it 3. Another question for Red. Have you done enough to trap Envious in? No one wants to backtrack. And there will be no one spawn trapping. Instead, though, a couple of kills come through, and now all of a sudden, look at the mini-map. Number 4 and number 5 pushing over towards Envy's spawn, but Envy more than happy to continuously push through showers, which could be a bit of a problem considering how close Scraps was to some streaks. But he does fall. Apathy the culprit. And Ake's able to trade out. Joe looking to just slow that push down, unable to do so. So after the players are able to evade, it's an even game. Essentially 24-21 though, as 4 players fall for Team Envious very, very quickly. Under reserve, 1:40 to defend B.
Yeah, and so when Envy is spawning on the bottom left side of the map, they know that someone is going to be pushed into their base, so you got to go clear it out, which they've done so far. So far, so good. And Zero, of course, watching the flank for his team as well. Looks like Zero might get hunted down while Joe is spawn killing on the flip side. So players across the map right now, but Red Reserve with the 4-life lead and Joe staying alive. It's going to take Envy quite a bit of time before they can set up a nice attack.
It's funny, it's like you said, you haven't seen Joe in about 10 seconds. He's probably behind you or lingering somewhere in your spawn. That was the game plan from him, and he was able to do a little bit of damage before finally falling. Scrap's still watching a hole in the wall, so no one from Envy can push through Shower's side. Rated is in the zone, finds 1. The stun connects with Joe, though, so no instant trade. Instead, it's just going to be a contest, buying time before his teammates are there to support.
I think Joe might have stunned himself there, and honestly, Envy going to be surging forward. He's able to win on gunfight, has Bance for the second. Of course, Red Reserve, we know, rocks double ICRs for this setup, and Vance in the back has 1 rated with the other. And even when Joe falls, Envy, the reinforcements are going to be so much slower to get to the hill just because you got to get past rated. You got to time it out when he's not busy killing you. And, well, of course, that life advantage still heftily in Red Reserve's favor.
And this has been a great round from Red. All things considered, I mean, really good job of just defending that B zone. They give up A very quickly. They give away a life advantage, but they trap Envy in. Then they recognize exactly when to push through. Joe does a good job of picking up a couple of spawn kills. Now, the defensive plays still staying true and proper. 6 life advantage. 30 seconds left. Envy got time for 1 push. They still haven't got a ticket to be though, so this is going to be very, very tough. War Machine's going to be invested. Scraps wants to seal the deal. There's 1, there's 2. May find the 3rd as well. The hit marker not going to be enough to find the final pick, but Envy down to their final 5 lives. You've got to be careful here. You don't feed any Red Reserve streaks.
So far, so good. Envy's starting to win some of the gunfights there, just trying to hold on. Or actually, no, they're going to take another crack at this, maybe try to burn a little bit more from the other team. But the gunfights, Hook able to pick up a couple. But in a 2v7, when you don't have any of the ticks, it would take an insane play to make it happen. But the makings are there because the War Machine might be here as well, but Hook gets shredded, and any hope there once was is gone.
I was going to say, if Aches and Hook both got a pick at the same time, Hook would have been close to streaks with a Graph Slam. At that point, you Graph Slam and you get a tick. You may have actually got streaks there, so it could have been almost worthwhile, but doesn't matter because it didn't happen.
Yeah, and then anyone playing from home, if you're annoyed with Scraps pulling out a War Machine when you're like, hey, they have a 6 life advantage, why do you need it? Because if they ever get to that point, even for a 2v7, like, there's a moment where if something crazy happens, like, they could get it done. You pull out the War Machine, you avoid the craziness for the moment, so I think it's a great call. You go up 2-0 in the round count, and of course, with Silly not having the best of games, you'll take whatever advantage you can get.
I think that's the key as well. You're more likely going to see it again. Invest it early. Grab Slam from Hook only finds 1. Still going to be contested, but there is Joe hiding over towards Tree. So a good start to the round as Hook just flies through Red Reserve by himself. There'll be no more pressure over towards A as Scraps sniffs out, Apathy sniffs out Scraps, who is the final player from Red Reserve over towards the A zone. Instead, Red left looking to assess their options over towards B. And again, Envy staying strong on defense here, Chance.
Yeah, 3 players over towards Sushi. They're able to clear Bance out. Well, now you got Scraps by himself, who again just gets triple challenged. The team kill might help Red Reserve later on, but Assault been sitting here waiting for the next rotation to come in. They got the positioning, but 2 players coming through. Aches is able to help him out for 1, and looks like Envy again doing a pretty solid job at a 2v2 near the hill. Red Reserve, it looks like they're waiting for those reinforcements before they start surging forward.
So you mentioned Silly with a slow game. It's a 5 and 16 stat line from him. As Red finally looking to break through. Silly is there, though. He's found one. Grab Slam available for Zero if he wants to invest it here. Someone on the backside. Luke is going to pinch through, so he may be forced to if you're Zero. Instead, takes the fight with the sub. Only finds one, still contested. So from when it is contested, the time doesn't decrease, so we're still stuck at 42 seconds. As fight's going on over towards B, and this is now where Envy are going to have to make their decision. They clear out A, but everyone from Red now flying over towards B.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is you have a little bit of control over towards B. You got a similar setup. You got 18 control. Vance is watching over top. You got a player watching post, but at the same time, everyone's coming in, and that life advantage still in Envy's favor. Vance able to pick up a couple of kills, and his teammates are going to be here quick, but after the actually on the flank, he was up top window, has the gun for the job. You get the clean sweep, and yes, they split push again. They go towards A, but this is 2 points they need to get, and they only have 6 lives remaining.
You still have a Grab Slam, though. If you want to use it for Zeros, it ups is against it. So at 8v5, you're down to your final 5 lives here for Red. You will cap A. Envy can give it up. The problem that Red is going to have is all the control Envy have now over the entire map here, Chance.
I mean, you get plenty of time. Just play like TDM, essentially, but the one thing you can't afford to do is just die at all. You have to make sure you swarm, and Hook even takes 2 with them just to shut any hope down. So make it a 3v6, and, well, Hook comes off respawn, so you imagine maybe more 2 pieces in the future, but Red Reserve have now slowed the pace down tremendously, but obviously 0 map control, and Envy will be happy to whittle down the clock so everyone can start to go towards Specialist.
Here's the interesting thing. Bance has snuck through showers. I think Apathy just spotted 1. As soon as they see more, well, he didn't spot the second. But the first, of course, they know he's there, so Vance will drop. Aches tries to push forward, Rated falls. And no, Scraps now trapped and will drop as well.
Yeah, they knew. I mean, even when one guy crosses, there's 3 players left. You know they're going to be playing together for the trades, but I mean, I think the big moments mainly were just Envy doing a great job off the rip. They constantly had that life advantage. But even when it was that 5v8 situation, I think it was, Red Reserve are sending 5 players back towards their spawn, which I think is the right call, because Envy would essentially be fighting a 2v5 in that situation, and you're hoping you shoulder peek everything, let your teammates get the kills, but then they just fed Hook 2 kills, and no trades come in, and any hope they had just gets stuffed.
Yeah, the second Hook gets the double kill. That round is done. As Envy trying to fight back. Down 2-1. A Vision Pulse, a Grav Slam, a Tempest, and almost a War Machine for Red on the flip side. Only a Tempest, but very close to that Vision Pulse. So he's stepping things up a little bit, 10-20. So a slow game by his standards, but he's improving. As a full wipe comes through. Envy back to the drawing board.
Envy with a sort of creative opening break, and I guess just no one watched Ice Cream, but some player gets through, picks up 2. But they're trying to force it in over towards B. They get the opening break, and honestly, Red Reserve, now the pressure's on the flank. They have somebody turn for it, but they might not have numbers because they got a lot of things they need to watch. The flank is now here. The player had to turn around because the guy in post falls. Aches, though, turns around and gets a kill. They already have a tick on board, but they might just be falling left and right, and Scraps is saying, no, this hill is mine. Takes the first kill with the War Machine, and well, that forces the player to have to back out. Of course, they go over towards A, but they're down by 5 lives, and Zero, if he can find anything, it'll help him out.
Bear in mind, Rated invests the Vision Pulse there to make that defensive hold happen. With 57 seconds left, a tick into B, 2 ticks into A. Zero, of course, if he really wanted to, could grapple Grav Slam in, but he's not going to do that. Want to give away his own life, and Red, they do have Envy trapped for now, but you have to win the following gunfights. Rated's going to be the first one to try and achieve the task, unable to do so. Hook reads Scraps like a book. And Envy break free.
What is it? Silly's got Vision Pulse. Like, they're going to have to burn everything, and I'm assuming they're going to go for 1 push at the same time. Like, pop the TAC 5, maybe use the Vision Pulse, get on through, but Hook is actually going to fall as the Vision Pulse gets called in, and that makes it tough, because now you got 4 players, and by the time Hook gets here, what kind of map control can you get off the Vision? Finally, Vance is able to back down, so you start trying to push up, but then Vance has the Tempest, knows he has to look left, is able to find 1, Rated there for the kills, and that's Vision Pulse gone, and all for naught. Rated finding 3 as you go through, and that might just be the nail in the coffin for Envy.
Well, Hook still with a Grav Slam, Salt still with a Tempest of his own. for Red, all you have is the grab slam of 0, but it is worth mentioning you have a massive life lead. It's at 8, it's now at 9, looking for 10. And Bance, mid-map with the Tempest. Looking to cause all sorts of problems. Envy need to play perfect Call of Duty. The problem, Joe is 75 points away from streaks of his own, and Chance, we're gonna get round 5, I should say. Last time we saw these two teams on this map. Doesn't look like this is going to be the same here.
Well, if they have a grab slam, they got the Tempest as well, so get a couple clearance kills. Maybe you can make something happen. It would take a lot. The Tempest is in, and the grab slam gone. Of course, Hook will be back eventually. Zero's going to fall. 6v16, you're contesting. You need to find a Tempest shot, though. You need a couple, if all honesty, and he's going to be tagged up quite a bit. Just so many players for Red Reserve, but Hugh is actually back. He's able to pick up 2. You're in the hill. 2 ticks are in. Tempest hits the guy in the back. Hugh with 3. You find the 4th. You got to shut him down. Hit the shot, but the contest is not in. What? They get the win from just nothing, from down 10, and it comes down to that one single push, and they get through. They don't need the vision. They don't even need to hit all their Tempest shots. Apparently. They need Hook. That's all they had to have. And Ryder gets to play the game. All right, come on, game. Give it to Hook.
The double grab slam from Hook. And then all of a sudden, the flood into the zone. We're not going to talk about those Tempest shots.
We'll just, you know, they won.
We'll let it rock. But all of a sudden, we're back in a round 5, and really, Aches has a war machine, or will get a war machine, and Zero still with that grab slam. That is it. That is all you're really going to see. Maybe, depending on how long this round lasts, a couple of extra things come out, but off the rip, that's all that's available. And Red already pushing over towards B, and you can see the respect Envy have given towards that grab slam. They heard that grapple, they backed away, but Hook is also close to streaks, and this could be the perfect flank.
Envy are also really slow on the flank, like 18 controls all the way to Red, so you can just turn around and you're in pretty good spots. Hook's able to find 1. Joe, of course, probably has a SOG, but either way, slow on the flank, that point's gone. Red Reserve now have, what, the grab slam still in all the time in the world to get this A point.
3 life advantage. But that could change in the blink of an eye. Zap the first to defend the line. Scraps will drop. Stun out. Gotta be careful. Stuns his teammate. Slows the push. But again, Zero with that grab slam. And Joe has hit the flank, and he has the support of a teammate. And now all of a sudden, Red Reserve are going to collapse in. And Zero just has to be patient, has to pick his time. Doesn't even need to invest a slam here. He's waited so long, and he's held it for the perfect time. Envy, they can try and flood in. You can try all you want, but there's the slam from Zero. It finds 1. He knows there's another one over towards Tals. Bear in mind, his teammate's in the zone, capturing it. War Machine out for Aches, though. He's forced to use it. That's a double, and Envy survive the push.
Well, only 1 tick coming through, so still a feasible situation for Envy to be in, but they have their work cut out for them. Red Reserve almost certainly switched to Flak, so the War Machine maybe not super useful. Assault only able to find 1. A couple trades do come in. He'll control, obviously, the way of Envy. Aches, though, just loses the gunfight. Scraps is getting hyped, and Scraps needs to find 2, and he gets both. Shuts down Hugh. Zero pushed out. The hill is here. You got to match another tick. Envy, though, going to be quick on the attack.
Scraps isn't done just yet. He's at 33 kills so far. Envy forced to try and flood. The second tick is in. Assault and Aches go big. Zone contested. Rated drops. Bans drops as well. Envy refuse to die. Refuse to fall. With just over 60 seconds left, you have 1, maybe 2 if your quick pushes left for Red.
Well, every single time they've made a push on offense, they get 1 tick, and now that's all they need. The first 2 kills going in their favor. Huko on the tree, has a little bit of help from Silly. And the kill still just back and forth. Silly inside, getting double challenge. He's able to find 2. Assault on the back, cleans up a kill, but the players are inside. Silly gets another. Joe trying to hold on, but Apathy there for the trade. Another push stuffed. And now this, yeah, they get 1 more crack. This is it. Red Reserve, 1 more try. But Envy have been so good.
This is what you love if you're a Call of Duty esports fan. All the way down to the wire. 30 seconds. Red Reserve. Well, Zero will drop. 6v6. All comes
down to that first opening.
He can see the trophy through the wall, but he can't do anything about it. That war machine gonna be useless. And of course on the flank, behind everybody.
This is huge. Scraps has invested the war machine, but he has also fallen. It's a 4 versus 4. 10 seconds left. Joe tries to make the play. It's red. Now it's going to be a contested zone. 2 players left for red, 1 player left for red. And that will be that. As Rated falls, Envy do the impossible, not just once, but twice in the same game of Control. Wow.
And then I'll tell you what, Silly, horrible start. Like 3 in 10
Terrible
rounds, never picked it up. But that 5th and final round, inside of Showers, on like 3 different defensive pushes, he just stuffed them repeatedly. 2-piece, 3-piece. He got 4 at one point. He was just unkillable, untradeable. And well, Red Reserve, you're not going to be happy because you had that game in the bag.
Got it in the palm of your hand. Twice. Twice. And Envy just pull out the clutch after clutch. I mean, round 4 should never have even happen. The fact that they're able to do so is incredible. But even here, you're asking Envy to defend A for 2 minutes, and they're able to do it. Incredible stuff.
And I think this is where, Silly picks up 4. That was number 3 on the uptake maybe, but he gets all those players. The trades were there. And then it was kind of hilarious of like, Scraps has the war machine again, but then you just see a player like through the wall. He's just laying down next to a trophy.
Yep.
But then it seemed like Red Reserve took care of everything because like Joe already going on the flank and the setup is there. They get rid of that trophy eventually. Then the timing is there for Joe. The kills get traded back and forth. And then again, it was Silly who just ends up coming up clutch. But all the makings were there for that. They did everything right.
This is where I thought Joe, if he gets a little bit better timing there, he spots Aches a little quicker. Maybe that could have been the deciding play, but Aches wins the fight anyway. And then from here, Red just crumbled. Another double for Silly. And he'll find that final kill as well. A wonderful round from him. Like you said, you basically get nothing in the first 4 rounds from him. Really poor performance, but who cares? Because when you get to the round 5, tasked with a horrible challenge, Silly steps up and some. A great performance, and now the series sits at 2-1, which, if that means anything here at the CWL, frequency hardpoint, don't even worry about it. We'll get ready for the Hacienda Search and Destroy.
To be fair, we did mention that Envy is the most unpredictable team by far, and the toughest thing to predict is a 3-1 win. Just we haven't seen him, so I'm just saying you never know. We have something important to watch on this frequency hardpoint, but I don't know. If I'm Red Reserve, that's a tough game to swallow, right? Because like, what do you even talk about? There's so many rounds you have to break down, so many moments. What could we have done right? 18 different things like per round essentially. So you gotta rewind, untilt, do what you gotta do, regain, and bounce back in the frequency.
And that's made even harder given the situation of the squad, right? When you're coming in with a couple of issues here and there, taking losses like that, it's not easy. It makes everything worse. I'm sure you'll hear the guys on the desk talk about it from back in their playing days, but you know, when you're going through inner turmoil and you take a real horrible loss, things don't exactly get easier, that's for sure. But frequency hardpoint underway. Start off with the man himself, who has been phenomenal as always throughout this series. And well, there's a clean 5 dead. Envy take control of the first hill.
It's a good break. Good break, but of course Red Reserve are actually spawning everywhere on the map because they died at the exact same time. So they kind of get a pinch going, but I think Silly reads it. Assault is just sitting here waiting. The flank is there, so all their base is covered. On the front side of the hill, though, it's Hook that had to watch the outside with the SOG, so Red Reserve should be good to break on through. Of course, as you say that, Assault's just able to pick up too because he gets the beat down, and this is a ton of time that's going to end up going their way, plus winning the rotation after he shoots this player in the back. And he got more players coming, but the stun's there. They know exactly what's coming on. Envy, best start they could possibly have, trying to let it ride. And honestly, it's just Scrappy on the backside. Assault eventually does get taken down because, you know, no ammo.
He realized, he was like, I'm gonna reload. I'm being shot. I'm gonna try and run away. I have to jump, and I'm dead. With that, Red will control. Back spawns for the second hill. It's about just kind of slowing down Team Envy because it was a very, very hot start. And they've been able to do just that. Scraps locking down the spawns, Rated in the hill. So the early Envy lead, you can basically say goodbye to that. As long as the following gunfights are won, which, well, the back was, but you still have to win the fights at the front, and there's a lot of pressure coming through. Doesn't matter. Red Reserve will deal with it. Rated with 2.
Joe and Scraps with 1 apiece, and now all of a sudden you can think about that rotation.
Someone does have to sit inside the hill. Looks like Vance is just going to be that lone survivor towards there. And on the uptake, the Sogs doing a lot of damage for both sides. Huke inside. That's a gunfight he shouldn't win. And it's a gunfight, well, he so often does. So Rated, the final man, needs to wait for his teammates. And, well, this time Huke gets shuts down finally. And Red Reserve, honestly, perfect rotation coming out of them. They're in the hill.
All those gunfights in transition that they're able to win, they force Envy to spawn to the old hill, but I mean, Assault says, you can force my teammates to spawn out. I'm going to do my best to spawn in, but it isn't enough. He was able to take 2 of the 3 down, and now you have a situation where Rated is getting close to streaks. Red Reserve have strung together a great 2 to 3 hills. Rated will fall, so no streaks earned, but Red's still in the hill.
I mean, this is on. It's just that 2 to 3 rotation. It's too good. Like, we should never watch Huke pick up 2 kills like that, and then everyone just dies around him, and Red Reserve end up getting the spawns, win the necessary gunfight. Zero is able to get 2. 28 seconds left. Everyone from Envy is spawning it next. And based on the setup that they're having, they're just chalking it up. All that time going to go the way of Red. The 2 to 3 is just perfect, because Envy, I think it was the very first hill where they got the 44 points.
Yes. So it's a 44 to 1 point lead. It's now a 44 to probably about 103 deficit. They have not got a point on the 2nd or 3rd hill. That shows you just how well Red played that entire rotation. But now they're set up, ready and waiting on pipes. First kind of quick succession of kills in their favor. So they will be able to get a little bit of control back in this game.
Of course, they have quite a bit covered because of how far up Silly's pushed, so that means Huke has quite a bit of teammate support, actually. Apathy and Aix are going to be right next to him. Aix is able to find 2, and should be enough for the trade, and that is 4 down. The split spawns, though, do come in for Red Reserve, so if they time it well, it might be all right. Huke's going to fall. 2 players in the back. Aix gets dropped as well. Red Reserve finally able to get some kills on board, but even still, they're not making it easy, but finally Red can get through. After 30 seconds go by, the question is, how much does Envy try to respond? They're pouring some pressure on. A couple players mid-map, but nothing cooking.
Think about it. Take away the first hill. All Envy's been able to do is get, what, 24 seconds? 22 seconds of hill time? That is it in 3 hard points. It's been relatively poor outside of the great start they had. And now we go back over towards that first hill. Envy had all of that success in the 2nd rotation, and it's a good start. Nice, clean sweep. And they'll claim that prize, the early hill time.
Inside of Gunless's home over by you. A lot of players going to be pushing in through the alleyway. Of course, one guy for Red Reserve is going to be mid-map, but some of the kills coming their way. The beatdown not coming in, and, well, Huke didn't need it. Did it with the gun, but again, Red Reserve just so-fast break right on through. Envy just struggling in the kills department. Everyone negative or even, with the exception of Huke, who, well, finds absolutely nothing with the grab, picks up 1 with his gun. And again, Red Reserve just hanging on.
It's a great split from Red, recognizing, of course, that the grab slam was available. If you're Rated, you don't even need to peek. Let's play for that Hellstorm. There it is. So full streaks for him, and a big lead for Red Reserve. And it was the rotation from the 2nd hill to the 3rd, which gave them that massive lead. Envy looked almost lost in the first rotation of hills. Cannot let that happen again. And Raid's actually going to invest a Hellstorm straight up the rip, and Assault scrambles towards the back of the map. Is that going to clip him? Don't think it will, but they know he's there. Still have to deal with him, though. Joe is trying to push. Rated tagged up from behind. Isn't too worried about it, because Aix will fall as he went out of the hill. And overall, another good rotation from Red.
So really good job by Rated there, just staying alive as well to wait for the teammate support. But Silly able to find 2. Scraps might as well be inside the hill if you're going to do this, because they're not getting any time. Finally makes the move, so maybe a couple seconds wasted, but they get the kills anyway, and this is just more time going their way. Envy spawning out back, but it might not even be the spawn they want. They're going to have to flood in. It's not easy to deal with. Zero, if he wants it, I think he was going to go for it. But he does get shut down, so Envy just trying to stay alive, but obviously not good on the rotation so far, because next hill's going to pop.
And you get 10 seconds scrap time. Great. You finally break through, and it's just so late. And now all of a sudden that lead is massive chance. 174 to 111. Red ready and waiting. Still trying to break it with the Tempest, but you've got to be very, very precise with those shots, and still in the control. A little sloppy. He tries to turn things around here. Much better. 2 kills very, very quickly. Zero still with the grab slam. Still looking to try and use it. But Envy, if we learn anything from game 3, Chance, It's never over till it's over.
Yeah, Salt making huge plays, by the way. Quite a few kills with the Tempest. Maybe he got 4 and got a couple of Dramatics as well. Should be good to get this Hellstorm. Ace has pulled out the War Machine. They want all this time. They want to make sure Assault can get his streaks, which, bar losing this last gunfight, which the timing wasn't even there, this is the response that Envy needs. You get the streaks, you have an amazing break on the hill. Granted, you have to invest quite a bit to make it happen, but you invest a lot and you get even more. I got your bases covered, but rated inside new has not been losing a lot of gunfights, sitting at 17 and 10.
Now the rotation over towards Pipes. First to the party for Team Envy, and he'll find Rated. The Lightning Strike was used. It wasn't just the ping. So we'll find a freebie on Joe there to his right-hand side. So Envy break again. 188, 152. Envy down, but in the hill. Rated forced to use his Lightning. That's 2 with the Lightning, 1 with the gun. Now the Hellstorm used by Assault, but that finds nada. Absolutely nothing, but he's still going to ham, going work. It's a 10-kill streak right now for Assault as he puts himself back into the hill. 420 away from more streaks. The potential that he could even overlap here. If a couple of EKAs go his way, you never know. Finally, he falls as Red fly back into the hill. Zero still with the grab slam.
No matter what happens in this game, both ICR players are going to turn to their team and be like, this is how easy the Maddox is. Like, you let me use this gun. We have a field day. You got 22 and 12 and 21 and 12. Though, with the flamethrower, Silly pulling it out, able to find 1. And frankly, how do you even break into this hill? You're going to have to deal with fire. Not fun to have happen. And this is a lot of time that might go their way, but maybe the grab slam could be the play or just sliding straight in and dying.
Yeah, it's definitely not the preferred method, but Zero slams, bear in mind, Hook throughout all of that is his, and he invests that. Rated now with the Purifier out. Assault trying to find a couple of kills if he's able to do so, but it's not going to go well. Red break through, and Red will once again take the lead. 195, 195, 30 seconds left of the first hill of our last rotation of hills. Scraps trying to push through. Should be able to find at least 1. There's the first. Second assisted. There's 3 and 4 in the hill. Scraps has to try and assist, if nothing else. But with 30 health and a dream, it's not going to work. Now it's a foot race on rotation. 3 players from Envy already going to be there. For Red, you at least get the scrap. But is it going to be enough?
Well, Scraps actually gets maybe a kill. He can get that War Machine. It might take him 2, which is the perfect thing to break in. So we have Flak Jacket. Well, Hook has it. And if one guy's got it, most probably do. So Envy's going to be there first, but Rated gives him the beat down. That means the spawns go the way of Red Reserve. Neither team, though, well, Red Reserve actually still could win it here. So yeah, Envy, pressure's on.
Yeah, you still have to try and push, and Rated with the most important fight he's had all game, wins it to control the spawn. Scraps has earned his War Machine. Now, does he want to invest it to try and win, or are you using it as a safety net to try and break if necessary? Well, all the kills going their way. They still have Bance anchoring the spawns at the back. The kills all go Red Reserve's favor with 25 seconds left and just 10 more points needed. Now the War Machine comes out. Now it's a party for Red Reserve. There's surely no way Envy can even get close to the hill. Beautiful job by Red. The contest comes through, but doesn't matter. Red are there, and shot horror. Who would have thought we're going to a game 5?
There's just simply nothing Envy could do. Doesn't matter if you have all the specialists, all the streaks in the world, you just simply cannot have a 3-1 victory here in the Pro League, it seems like. So
unacceptable.
No fault of their own, and even with all the streaks being used on that U-Hill, the PEMDAS, it cancels it out, right? You got a flamethrower on each side, the grab slam on each side, and on that first hill, Red Reserve was on point the entire game.
Definitely were. And Envy across, trying to discuss what went wrong, but it doesn't matter because once again, 3rd time today, we're going to a game 5, search and destroy to close it out. Cross-divisional play has been full of action, and we're loving it. Hopefully you are as well. We'll be back with game 5 right after this. Red Reserve Team Envy, the final game of the night, and it's going the distance. Game 5. Last time these two teams faced up against each other, it was a swift 3-0 for Red Reserve. The games were close, admittedly, but Red took it. Now, all of a sudden, Envy fighting for a chance at revenge. And when we talk about the first Search and Destroy chance, it was close at times, but realistically, Envy found that win.
At the same time, it was a run back, though, right? So Envy could probably, I'm assuming, went to the drawing boards. Bevels, you have to know, was cooking up everything possible because they showed a lot of different looks, especially on offensive, going to different bomb sites, cutting through mid. Their timings were great, so they were very clean on the map. I'm assuming they've talked over Hacienda. They could probably show a lot of different looks, but maybe not quite as much information as direct as what they would have for Gridlock.
Sure.
Which is an incredibly minute point that probably won't make any bit of difference for the Game 5, but we'll bring it up.
Never know. Never know. As we said, the Hacienda Search and Destroy, the Game 5 between Envy and Red. We kind of both knew this was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But Chance, who do you see taking it?
I don't know.
Wonderful. Thank you for the insight.
I'm trying to think. If I had to go with one team, I'd probably say Red Reserve. And I think one thing that we saw, like even in the hard point, is they have a lot of pressure top hallways a lot of the time. And that's something a lot of really good teams do. They get control of mid-map on both offense and defense, and they make things happen. I don't know if Red Reserve will go for that. But if I'm trying to think of anything on the fly of why a team would have an advantage, I'll go for that. Might as well.
Be a pretty good reason. It's the Game 5 Search and Destroy loading up. As it stood in the series, it's been Red that have won the hard points and Envy everything else in between.
Much more valid points. Wasn't Envy like 0-7 in Game 5s until they won like yesterday or whatever it was? I think they were like 0-7 in Game 5s. I think it was them, either them or EG. Pretty sure it was Envy because they had SD problems last year as well. So they always have those streaks. So if you pick anyone for the Game 5s, you pick Red Reserve. For that reason, that makes a lot more sense.
Well, the first blood went in favor of Red in the flurry of trades that commenced. It was a 3 versus 2, still in Red's favor. App left in no man's land, 1 versus 3, all down to Hook. I guess if there's a player you want to lie for Envy, it would be him. Doesn't matter though. He falls. Red very quickly take round 1.
And to pile it on for Envy for these like Game 5s, I think on this map specifically, I can't remember where it happened, but I think it was in the league. Aches had like 4 team kills in like the same map, and it was on
I think it was Hacienda, yeah.
So, yeah, Aches. Not shy about killing everyone on the map if he can, but either way, Red Reserve getting on board first because they survive Aches.
That was where he was on the defensive round and he threw a Semtex over towards the rock and it killed 2 of his teammates.
And I think that same game he was like shooting people through walls on his own team. Like it was getting a little bit rough.
It was very tough indeed. But round number 2 underway. And it's going to be Envy on the attack, of course. They've made their way over towards B very aggressively, but Zero's pushed straight through. And he's going to get all the information in the world. And he's done very well to stay alive to his credit. And he finds a pick, looking for more. Did his job. Well, it's time for his teammates to rotate. 3 versus 3. He's managed to pick up the bomb, but Envy are in a little bit of an awkward position. As now all of a sudden, it's a 2v2.
Yeah, and Red Reserve reset, both players backing down. Of course, they did completely give up top, and, well, that's where Envy are going. Scraps those spots. 1, he's spotted as well. Running for dear life. He's got the help. He's got the coverage. There for the trades. Envy trying to force the gunfights, and they just simply do not win them. And, well, it's a pretty chaotic round, but I guess a lot of props have to be given to Scrap and Zero. Everyone for Red Reserve. Yeah. Really good job.
I like Zero's play at the start just to buy time, and then it was almost as if Scraps and Rated were setting a trap. And then we took the bait and push all the way through and try and take the fights, and little did they know. Rated in his ICR just staring over Scraps. Right now, 2-0 up here in the Game 5. They're back on attack. It's going to be a very, very quick A push, and it's going to be met by everyone from Team Envy. So this round could be over very, very quickly here.
Red Reserve feel the pressure as well as Rated just falls up top. Now they're all forced to back down, and you could go for the quick rotation and get the quick plant down, but the man disadvantage isn't going to help. Of course, Scraps, if he does it soon, will be closer to streak, so I think that might just be the play. Get the bomb down, try to get Scraps at least a kill, and actually, frankly, if he gets streaks, they can win this round. Well, they could do it anyway, but now it's a little bit tougher.
Depends if he's able to get out. If he can find an isolated 1v1 fight, which now he knows exactly where Aches is. I guess Aches got the pick, but Joe cleans him up. 2v4. Again, if you're scraps, you're just playing for your streaks here. The round is an added bonus almost. You let Joe try and check the bomb. App has hopped it. Have your scraps. You just need this one fight. There it is against Hook. Needs to win it. Doesn't win it. Envy with a big, big round win.
Yeah, it's just a full send to try to win that one gunfight, but Hook makes sure to shut him down. So as good as it could possibly get for Envy on the bounce back round. You shut down the streaks. You get the round win, obviously, in a fairly commanding fashion as well. Hook, by the way, has amazing ears.
He also has amazing thumbs.
Thumbs are pretty good, too. Yep.
Very useful. Very useful in Call of Duty Esports.
Index fingers, honestly, probably good because
true.
ADS is pretty well.
Does.
It's on time.
Snaps very quick.
Decent reaction time.
2-1 to Red Reserve. Envy back on the attack. What is going to be their game plan? Pretty heavy corridor pressure coming through so far. B's open if they want to try and take it.
Well, you do put away the thermal, but they are coming to the site nonetheless. Of course, no water control from either team for the moment. And this bomb not yet going down, but Raider just waiting for those reinforcements, who I believe are going to be coming from up top.
And Bread Money has a nade as well. So if he really wants to, almost bait Envy into pushing over towards the bomb. Waiting for the push through to come through. It's nothing but a trade. 4v4, 47 seconds left. Envy, they've wrapped the bomb over towards A, and Zero is ready and waiting for it. Well, unfortunate timing there, but he'll spot one. Now the rest will be called out in a flurry. Joe does well just to stay alive, but time's ticking. Envy got to get the bomb down.
Yeah, trophy down, so no nades from Rated going to do any damage to the bomb planter. Able to get alive. You got one guy to watch the back, one guy in the front, and one guy for connector. So the setup is going to be here from Envy. Vance, of course, on the attack from one side. He's got a teammate going on the pinch, but all the bases covered. Rated with the nade. Can't find anything, and Aches are staying alive. The two players, well, are being dealt with for the moment. This is where they make the move, slide in, take Assault down. Aches is now turn around, and Silly, well, he moved from connector. Him and Aches are actually on the wrong side of the bomb, but Silly's actually mid. Might need to go for the flank if the nade can't do the job. It's not going to do the damage. Can Silly get there in time? The nade eventually takes him down. You trust the Semtex to break apart and get the kills, so you'll take what you can get.
It was close. It was very, very close indeed. But it gets the job done. And Envy win the round. More frustration on the faces of Red Reserve. Something that you're almost getting used to over the past couple of days. Despite, obviously, a reverse sweep Game 5 win yesterday. Obviously, not out of this one either. Could walk away with another Game 5 victory today. It's all tied up. 2 rounds apiece. Red back on attack. And it's going to be Rated pushing over towards B by himself. Meanwhile, the rest of his team push over towards A.
Yeah, the plan is definitely to get the bomb down at A. I would have assumed just because Rated had the Matic, so he's looking for close-range gunfights later on instead of having the ICR, but they end up cutting through and going back to mid-map, and this is the strategy call of saying that Red Reserve will be on point here. Hook again gets first blood, but does get instantly traded. It's a true blue 4v4, though you get stunned out. That's a free kill for Envy every day of the week, but Appy might overpeak for a moment. Trade's coming in back and forth. Scraps fights 3. Bance is going to fall. Everyone's going to fall Joe. Now for the 1v2. He does not have bomb, but Envy have left it alone, so they might not know it's down.
You can go for this. Need to just fly off the map. It's a little bit of lady luck on his side, a little bit of caught timing. You never know. Problem is, Envy, they're pushing over towards him, and yeah, Joe's been spotted. It's a little unfortunate. Ace is trying to wait for him to plant the bomb, and then he's going to try and get the kill just because of how close to streaks the players are. You would have loved the extra EKIA, but you've got Silly 210. Ace is going to be close as well. He's at 300. You assume this is your point about vision pulls. You're going to give Silly the defuse no matter what.
And now, I'll tell you why I don't like that, because Aches got that kill, right? But Silly's obviously 210 away. You know the guy's on bomb. Just purposely don't kill him. Like, do the damage, do enough to get him one shot, and then let Silly get the kill so you both get the points to help with streaks. Now, obviously, you still win the round. That's still a lot of good things, but hypothetically, if next round Silly gets shut down before he get the streaks, it's just not fun. Not as fun.
Envy will win the round nevertheless. The 3-2 advantage. Silly closer now to, of course, his streaks and the vision pulse. If you're Red Reserve, you know this. You also know how close Aches is to streaks as well. 2 high priority targets. This next round, you cannot afford to give them any extra points whatsoever.
That would be kind of karmatic justice if both players end up getting fully streaked out. They just completely run them over, and it doesn't make the slightest bit of difference just to not try to get the double team shot for the extra points for the EKIA. Or the kill if Silly would have gotten it, but either way, a couple rounds in a row for Envy. Hook, of course, with quite a few first blood, so he's getting close to that grab slam as well.
Silly will take bomb. You're on number 6 and number 7 on the minimap. It's going to be Silly and Aches. Assault patrols up top. Envy looking just for a free bomb plant. Be massive for them. They try and work towards a couple of set of streaks here. Rated sniffs it out. Forces Envy away from the B bomb, but Assault watching the flank. He finds Bance. Zero as good as dead. And Aches close to that war machine. Does have a nade to use here as well, but it looks like it's going to be a wrap all the way over towards A. Only one player there to stop it. It's going to be Joe. Can he try and find at least one important gunfight win? No, he can't. He drops. So 5v2. Aches shuts down ready, and you almost want to just keep this last player alive so you can get the bomb planted, but it's not going to be the case. Hook finds the pick on the scraps.
So again, good. Maybe could have been a little bit better, but obviously a very dominant round, as dominant as could be. And we keep talking about these little things we want teams to do better that don't make any difference at all if you just get if you win the game in the series, but just something to keep in the back of your mind. You got a 5v1. You got 2 players close to streaks.
Like, it's worth mentioning there, if you're Hoop, yes, you know where Scraps is, but you don't need to challenge. You wait for Silly to plant the bomb, he gets his streaks. Then you bait for Aches, Aches gets his streaks as well. Just small things which could maybe affect the outcome towards the end. I mean, for all we know, Silly may just get a kill, Aches may get a kill here, and it doesn't really matter.
And you got a war machine, and you got a grab slam. You have a ton of things going your way, including the stun that, well, clears out A. Nobody's home. Once again, Red Reserve over towards this B site, which Cuke just going to fall. No grab slam. Players on bomb. The nade's going to be there. I don't know if there's a trophy. It seems like there's not, but there is flak.
Flak was enough. Advantage Red. In a round where you need to see Aches and Silly either get a defuse or a kill. For Aches, it's both. Assault finds one. Apathy drops. Aches springs into life. Streak for Silly, streak for Aches. Best case scenario, the round's going to be won as well. Aches is on the bomb. Rated has to peek. Well, there's Assault ready and waiting. So everything we said, Ches?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all.
Doesn't matter. Red Reserve maybe had a sliver of opportunity, but now they got to deal with the Lightning, the Hellstorm, the other Lightning, and however many different specialists that are going to be on board, because Hook obviously still has his grab slam. Someone else got theirs. Aches still with the war machine. It's going to get rough. It's going to get real rough, and Envy, maybe the Game 5 curse is broken and gone.
Seems that way, based on this performance. Dominant in their search and destroys this series. 6-3 game 2. They're 5-2 up here. And Red Reserve just haven't had the answers. And now you're dealing with Silly with a Lightning. Aches with a Lightning and a Hellstorm. Also a War Machine. Hook with a Grab Slam. Assault with a Tempest. This is going to be very, very hard to deal with. The Scraps support at the sniper rifle. He's going to be pushed. He isn't careful from that top right side. And we see it. He doesn't. There's an Envy player just close to his right-hand side. Meanwhile, first blood comes in favor of Hook. And considering all the extra utility, this round should be over.
Scraps knows a player's coming up underneath. That player, well, still able to find one kill before he falls. The Hellstorm means you get the bomb down for free. That means you got 2 lightning strikes just to cover the bomb on top of the War Machine, on top of the Tempest. You get everything, but a lot of War Machine shots raining in. Obviously, flak on and the trophy War Machine now useless. And again, you still have 2 lightning strikes. It's impossible to lose this round.
If you lose this round, you should just lose the series. It's as simple as that. Should be almost impossible. Scraps gets a pick with a sniper rifle, but again, Lightning's going to come through. That's going to burn time off the clock. It also finds the pick on Vance. Apathy has flanked. Scraps will find that kill. It's a 2v2, but with 13 seconds, a War Machine out. Surely it's over. Zero makes it a 1v1, loses the final gunfight. Maybe it was a little closer than it should have been, but Envy close out the Game 5 and get their revenge over Red Reserve with a 3-2 win.
And Envy is a team that if they could just fix those game 5s, they go from a good team to a great one. And I think they're 2 for 2 as of late. And if they can continue that, obviously they will be a force to be reckoned with.
Definitely will. Such a big factor. It's, you know, Accelerate struggling with their game 5s. Well, now Envy clutching up in theirs. And again, that one really wasn't that close, chance when you think about it. I mean, the Search and Destroys as a whole, you kind of mentioned it in game 2, Envy just looked like they'd outplanned and just had everything formulated and executed everything perfectly.
Yeah, I think the only things I didn't like was, like, you know how all of these players are close to streaks? I want them to be a little bit closer. But other than those small little details, it was almost flawless. They had a great time. Double lightning strike at the end. The timing, pretty good, because again, like Zero, even if he wins that gunfight at the end, wouldn't have had enough time to defuse the bomb. So they put themselves in a perfect spot. They execute. They get the wins. They did everything, Ben.
Yep, they managed to get the win when it matters most. And that was, what, 3 game 5s on the day? The final 2, some good games, some good maps overall. But it's kind of setting the tone for the remaining few days here of our first set of cross-divisional gameplay. But that's everything from myself and Chance for the evening. We can send it down to Jess with a PlayStation Instant Reaction with Apathy.
Thank you, Ben. How does it feel to get your revenge on Red Reserve?
Feels good. I mean, especially how we've been performing, you know, very inconsistent, and just glad to win another game 5.
So going in, Silly seemed pretty confident that you guys could 3-0, but what were you expecting heading into this series?
Well, last time we played them, it was definitely a close match, so I knew it was going to be a grind. They're a very good team, so, and the way we've been, you know, it's just like all over the place. So it just depends who brought it, and we definitely did.
You definitely did, especially on those S&D. What makes your S&D so strong right now?
I don't know, our teamwork seems to be really good in S&D. I feel like we understand each other and we're all on the same page, and that's what makes it pretty dominant, and we have pretty good strats, but then our respawn, like our teamwork lacks, so that's something we really got to work on.
All right, well, thank you so much. This has been your PlayStation Instant Reaction. Back on over to Katie at the desk.
Thank you so very much, Jess. And again, that is Envy winning another game 5. Congratulations to them, taking down Red Reserve. Nameless, what tipped the scales in Envy's favor this time? Because as we said, Red Reserve 3-0'd them at Fort Worth.
Well, I mean, we just saw X playing great in that game 5, and Search and Destroy overall. They're able to close out these games. That's what Chance said at the very end right there. They're 2-0 in Search and Destroy in their game 5s. And recently, or before that, they were 0-3 in game 5, which is like, come on. Like, finally, we're able to finally clutch up and close these out. And that's what we've been waiting to see out of Envious. My worry is it too late? Who knows, after 2 events not being too good, but definitely on the up for them. And in this hardpoint, I really want to focus on the ending here, because I thought Envy could have, you know, taken this game 1. At the end, they kind of over pushed this hill because they were worried that Red could possibly have still won it on here, so they kind of pushed it a little bit too much towards the end, and then on rotation, they get cut off near that U, and you know, I didn't think they need to use this lightning strike right here, right? Like, they were in the back, they were in a good position, they call in that lightning. It does get a few kills, but I think they could have just traded out and gained control and used that lightning going into the fences. So they do invest that lightning, and then we see players like Aches try to push over through this zigzag to try to contest this time, and then they end up getting cut off by Bance right here. And you know, right there, if they save that lightning, if they decide to fully rotate, they can just use it on the next hill and possibly win this game. So this is a map I thought they could have ran away with towards the end. You know, on top of Hook going off with that Maddox, I thought that they were in a good position. They threw it away.
I mean, this is a series of basically just the control, right? So Red Reserve won both hard points. Envy won both S&Ds. It came down to that control, which was very close. There was a couple key moments that really swayed it towards Red Reserve, or towards Envy. Sorry. This S&D here, this was a huge round right here from
from Envy. Yeah.
From Envy, yes.
They get that retake. They're down 4 to 5 man count, and they throw that nade in. I think it really comes from that stun when they hit him with like a three people get stunned. I think 2 of them didn't have tac mask, so
they had flak because they knew that Ace had his war, so they had to wear flak. And this guy's full stun in the corner. He really can't do anything here from this corner. Look how long he's there, useless in that corner. That's huge. And Envy's able to win out the trades and win this round effectively.
In this game 5, it was beautiful to see out of Envy, because their teamwork was definitely something they implemented when they went down 0-2. You saw players like Hook, who was like pushing through the water side, flanking their B side, but being that island player. And when they went down 2-0, you realize that Simply, they just needed to get together and just play trades. And that's exactly what they did from down 2-0 for the next round. The next 6 rounds straight, they were just running around, gunning with each other, catching players on Red Reserve just by themselves, playing that island again. But on the side of Envy, it was just beautiful that they were able to adapt and realize that just not playing islands and just playing together was way easier for them.
One thing we did see sort of out of Hook, though, was he wasn't necessarily playing an island, like hitting these long flanks, but he was getting pushed up sort of into these power positions by himself. Like, he'd have a player getting information like middle, and he'd know that there's nobody there, and he'd get pushed up into the hallway and cause sort of like this distraction that just annoyed Red Reserve. Like, in this last round, we saw Hook get that first blood. He got pushed up towards B based on the information his teammates gave him, and he gets that first blood kind of on the stairways, or in the stairway in that door. And that pretty much opens the round up from there. He still has the grab slam to work with, and the people on Red Reserve are just so frustrated at that point that they let Hook get that blood.
Pac, we've talked a lot about consistency with Envy, and we have seen a little more consistent performance today and yesterday, but is it too soon to say, or?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely too soon to say because we just have way more data on them not being consistent, right? So good on them on getting these 2 Game 5 wins. Shout out to Aches. He's actually playing really well in these Search and Destroy, these Game 5s, so he stepped it up tremendously himself. That's catching me off guard, I'm not gonna lie. Aches is playing really well in those clutch moments. Like, gotta give him his props, right?
You have to give him his props. It's been phenomenal.
I also gotta say, you know, Aches and his S&Ds, he's been sniping a lot, but he's been getting a lot of hit markers, so I can't even throw shade at him anymore. At least you're hitting him, man. Fortunately, you're not getting the kills.
He also made a huge play in the control. There was a point when Joe had pushed out Envy's side and Pat was off spawn. He came through hole, and I was like, oh, Joe's gonna shoot him in the back, and it's gonna cause mayhem. Pat actually came through hole and picked up the kill on Joe behind his team. Had Joe killed Pat there, it would have been a pinch from Red Reserve as opposed to Envy putting all the pressure on Red, and Red Reserve probably would have won that control and then won the series. So.
Also mind-blowing about that control, they held A for 2 minutes and 17 seconds.
Yeah, that was a long hold.
And Red had 29 lives left. That's actually extremely impressive to do. Like, you don't really see teams holding A down for that long without them getting inside and getting some ticks. So, you know, kind of a weird round of control, but I think that was definitely like the turning point in the series. Like, whoever won that control was taking the series.
All right, let's bring up our PlayStation damage dealt leaderboard, see how things fall for today. And Gunless, you guys predicted it earlier that